I'm going to start off this review with a bit of an embarrassing confession. Up until about 8 days ago, I didn't know how to play Solitaire. This classic card game, which is thought to have been around since 1783, has remained a mystery to me for the majority of my life. Growing up, Solitaire just struck me as, well, dull. As a wide-eyed child obsessed with video games, I honestly don't even think I understood that Solitaire was a game you could even play with a physical deck of cards. For me, Solitaire existed solely as a part of Microsoft Windows, played only by middle-aged office workers as they attempted to find some levity while trapped within the confines of their drab 90s cubicles. Why would I choose to play Solitaire on a computer when I could play Doom or SimCity, or maybe this game my dad would have to help me find on DOS, where two monkeys threw explosive bananas at one another? Does anyone even know what I'm on about here? Did this game exist? Solitaire? I may as well be playing Minesweeper, and while you're at it, you should probably call a doctor, because I'm dead. I'm dead because I've died of boredom. Who looks at this and thinks, now this is how I'm gonna spend my free time? Psychopaths. I hate Minesweeper. I don't understand this either. I just have a blind spot for games that were bundled in Windows during the 90s. But a few weeks ago, when Bithell Games very kindly threw a review code for their latest game, the Solitaire Conspiracy, into my inbox, I thought it was about time I pulled on my big boy pants and figured out what the hell was going on with this goddamn card game everyone keeps banning on about. So I did the following. I pulled out a deck of cards, I threw them immediately into the bin, because fuck the physical realm, and I downloaded a Solitaire app onto my phone instead. Within about 10 minutes, the delightful flick Solitaire taught me everything I needed to know about this classic pastime. Solitaire, it turns out, isn't just easy to learn, it's also immensely satisfying to play. Solitaire, specifically Patience as it's known, is a relaxing game all about organising a deck of cards, stacking them in ascending order by each suit. The game is as much about luck as it is about skill, with the random element of a card shuffle resulting in each game feeling uniquely challenging. It is a quiet game, one that is best paired with a hot cup of coffee and a soundtrack of smooth jazz. It's a lazy Sunday afternoon kind of game, one that calms the mind before the busy week ahead. So, long story short, I'm 28 years old and I have just discovered that I am proper horny for Solitaire, and now I literally cannot be stopped. I give Solitaire an essential rating. It is, quite frankly, an absolute all-timer, and my personal game of the year for 1783. Anyway, with my newfound knowledge and indeed love for the game of Solitaire, I finally booted up the Solitaire Conspiracy. The third entry into what developer Bithell Games refer to as Bithell Shorts, the Solitaire Conspiracy sees Thomas Was Alone creator Mike Bithell apply his narrative prowess to the humble game of Solitaire. The Solitaire Conspiracy is, therefore, as much a story about spies, agents, and villains hell-bent on world domination as it is a simple card game. Selected by a top-secret spy network, you play as a rookie mission controller, directing agents in the field via an abstract interface called cards. A supervillain referred to as Solitaire has been running around being all naughty in that, and it's up to you to reunite the separate factions that fall within your network to gain control of the system and defeat Solitaire once and for all. It's all a bit eye-roll inducing, admittedly, but it's presented in a very endearing way. Live-action FMV segments play every time you level up, with YouTubers Greg Miller and Anel Tomlinson playing the two characters you interact with throughout the campaign. It's a bit hammy, as these things so often are, but both actors put on a show that I would describe as being sweet and sincere above all else. I believe these sections were recorded at home during lockdown, and both do a pretty good job at conveying a fun, if predictable, yarn about opposing forces that operate from the shadows, despite the very clear limitations that come from recording within these very specific circumstances. The Solitaire itself, however, is wonderful stuff, presenting a unique twist to the classic game. Here, a deck containing up to 4 suits is divided into 8 stacks. As with regular Solitaire, each suit must be organised into one of 4 piles in the centre of the play area, placed in ascending order from ace to king. Cards can be moved between stacks and can be placed on any other card of a higher value than itself. You don't, however, need to fret about alternating colours, as cards can be placed onto any pile regardless of their suit. The main twist here comes in the form of special powers. Once the ace has been placed onto a central space, the corresponding jack, queen, and king cards gain energy. These cards, represented as special agents from the suit's associated spy agency, provide suit-specific special powers that are activated when they are moved onto a stack of cards. These powers range from sorting out the selected stack, rearranging the cards from lowest to highest, exploding the stack before randomly distributing them around the play area, and grabbing the next required card from the suit the special move was placed on, allowing you to pull cards from the bottom of stacks without having to rearrange them first. Handy. It's a fun mechanic that introduces a fresh layer of possibilities to the classic formula, especially considering not all of these work in your favour. Out of the 8 unlockable suits, or agencies as they're known, 2 or 3 boast special powers that hinder more often than they help. Humanity Plus's ability, for instance, steals the next card you require from a suit before hiding it at the bottom of the currently selected stack. So powers are fun but messy, in that way unpredictable mechanics so often are. There's a modicum of skill required to execute these powers in such a way that they won't screw you over, although there are no fail states to be found here. Played in its default mode, Solitaire Conspiracy is easy enough to master, with the worst possible scenario causing you to spend a little more time sorting out stacks rather than being forced to start again from scratch. I like that, though. Although running out of available moves is a fundamental aspect of the original game, I think fail states kind of rub against the gentle core of what makes Solitaire so, well, relaxing. It's a game, in my mind anyway, that's at its best when it allows you to take your time, to uncover solutions at your own pace. But herein lies my sole issue with the Solitaire Conspiracy. Its core gameplay loop is so gentle, kind, and calm that it constantly feels at odds with the game's narrative and aspects of its presentation. Now, don't get me wrong, the game looks gorgeous. The soft focus shots as cards are dealt onto the board are really slick. The character designs for each suit are beautiful and represent the individual agencies perfectly. Even the FMV sections, with their exaggerated sci-fi effects, work within the context of the narrative. The whole game just has a really tactile feel to it all, too, which is so important in a card game. The issue is that it just takes itself a bit too seriously. The music, for starters, is so dramatic that it gives the game a sense of urgency that just isn't reflected within the mechanics themselves. With no time limit or the possibility of failure looming over you constantly, the Mission Impossible soundtrack just feels bizarre. About 15 minutes into my playtime, I shut it off and replaced it with something more befitting of the game's pace, that smooth jazz I mentioned earlier. It may not have fit the story the game was attempting to tell, but it certainly made playing it feel a whole lot less intense. It's a shame because the soundtrack is genuinely good, it just feels a bit out of place. Each mission also provides you with a small bit of story to contextualize your actions, but again, this just feels a little bit too separated from everything else. Once the cards have been dealt, there's nothing to convey what your actions are supposed to represent. I know the game wants me to believe that moving the kin onto a stack of cards is, well, that's the thing, I don't know what it wants me to believe. Am I directing an operative to enter a room, secure a target, assassinate a diplomat? The flavor text, as well written as it may be, just feels like unnecessary set dressing when it's not reaffirmed through gameplay, which is a shame because the text itself is very well written. This is, after all, a Mike Bithell joint, a designer known for his narrative experiences. The issue is that the narrative feels separate, to the extent that I ended up skipping mission briefings altogether to get back to the cards. I wish I didn't, but after a while it just felt more and more detached from the card game I was desperate to be playing. The game's campaign took me about 3 hours to finish. Once you're done, you can play through the campaign again by selecting Campaign Plus. This transforms missions into fixed puzzles that have to be completed within a certain number of turns, an appreciated addition for those looking for a bit of extra challenge. There's also a wave mode that asks you to complete as many levels as possible before a timer runs out, and a skirmish mode that allows you to play a single game with your own choice of the 8 suits. I really liked the Solitaire Conspiracy. Despite its shortcomings, it offers an engaging reinvention of the classic game that I found myself going back to long after I wrapped up its main campaign. I love how it feels to play, snapping cards down into their designated piles, and would genuinely love a physical version of the decks found within the game. It's just a shame that its narrative feels so forgettable when paired up with the game of cards itself. A lot of love went into this game. It's a really well produced, designed and developed release. I just hope future updates help bring more focus to its confused sense of identity, while also delivering more of the fun card game I enjoyed playing so much. So with all this in mind, I'm going to have to recommend this one regardless. The Solitaire Conspiracy is a great version of Solitaire that is absolutely worth your time. Hey, thank you for watching another one of my silly little reviews. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment letting me know your favourite card. I want to know the number, I want to know the suit. I'm going to compile it all in a big book. I'm going to read it every night before bed. I'm going to close my eyes and have sweet, beautiful, relaxing dreams about a lovely deck of cards made up from every single of your favourite ones. What am I talking about? New videos are uploaded to this channel every Sunday because I hate myself and like to give myself lots of work to do. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. There's a car going by. Why?